Mina got the promotion she'd been working toward for 3 years. Title bump, corner office, and a salary that almost doubled overnight. She called her parents. They were proud. She updated LinkedIn. The likes rolled in. And for a few weeks, life genuinely felt different. She moved into a nicer apartment, got the car she'd been putting off, started eating at the kind of places she used to scroll past on Instagram. Nothing outrageous, just the upgrade she felt she'd earned. 2 years later, Mina is making more money than she ever imagined at 22, and somehow she has less breathing room than she did back then. Same feeling of being stretched before payday, same low-level anxiety before a big expense hits, same sense that the paycheck is already spoken for before it arrives. More money, same trap. And the worst part? She has no idea why. Because the salary trap isn't about how much you earn. It's about what happens to your brain every single time that number goes up. Hi, I'm Rishi, and today we're talking about something that genuinely doesn't get discussed enough. The reason more money doesn't automatically mean more wealth, and why some of the highest earners in America are financially more fragile than people earning half their salary. This isn't a lecture about spending less. It's about understanding a pattern so you can actually break it. Let's get into it. You get a raise, a real one, maybe 15%, maybe more. And for about 2 weeks, it feels incredible. You feel the difference. You feel ahead. And then something quiet happens. Almost without deciding to, your life adjusts upward. The apartment that felt fine last year suddenly feels a little small. The car that got you everywhere suddenly feels a little dated. The restaurants you used to go to start feeling like a Tuesday thing instead of a special occasion. None of these feel like decisions. They feel like natural progressions, like you've earned this. And technically, you have. But here's what's actually happening underneath. Your expenses are growing at the exact same rate as your income, and the gap between what comes in and what goes out stays exactly the same. Sometimes it actually shrinks. Economists call this lifestyle creep, and Goldman Sachs calls what it creates a financial vortex, where higher income, higher spending, and higher fixed costs pull even well-paid households into the same cycle they thought they'd escaped. Let's put real numbers on this, because the Goldman Sachs findings from their 2026 report are genuinely hard to believe at first. 41% of workers earning between $300,000 and $500,000 living paycheck to paycheck. 40% of workers earning over $500,000, same thing. Meanwhile, only 25% of workers earning $100,000 to $200,000 report the same struggle. Read that again. People earning $500,000 a year are more likely to feel financially stretched than people earning a quarter of that. And SoFi's March 2026 analysis found that 1/3 of American families earning over $100,000 are struggling to pay bills with no money left for savings, while of those earning $200,000 or more, 60% report feeling like they're in survival mode. Survival mode on $200,000 a year. That number should genuinely disturb you, not because those people deserve sympathy over lower earners, but because it proves something important. Income is not the solution. It never was. Here's the psychology that makes this almost inevitable without deliberate intervention. When your income increases, your reference point shifts. The people you compare yourself to change. At $50,000, you compare yourself to others earning $50,000. At $150,000, you're suddenly surrounded, physically and digitally, by people earning $200,000. You move to a nicer neighborhood. Your colleagues drive better cars. Your new social circle takes different kinds of holidays, and your brain immediately recalibrates what normal looks like. What felt aspirational last year feels standard now. What felt standard last year feels almost embarrassing. Psychologists call this reference group theory. You don't measure your success against where you came from. You measure it against where the people around you currently are. Think about Mina for a second. Before the promotion, her $1,200 apartment felt completely fine. Her colleagues at the new level all live in $2,500 apartments. Not because they told her to upgrade, just because that's what she sees every day now. And slowly, quietly, $1,200 starts to feel wrong for someone at his level. She didn't decide to feel that way. Her brain decided for him. There's also something called the hedonic treadmill, the psychological mechanism where improvements in your life quickly become your new baseline. waiting for the number that finally makes everything feel settled. That number never comes because it's not a number problem. It never was. Here's what the salary trap actually costs you. Beyond the obvious financial impact, it costs you options. When your fixed expenses consume most of your income, even a high income, you lose flexibility. You can't take a risk on a career move you actually want. You can't weather a period of instability without panic. You can't say no to things that don't serve you because you need every paycheck. Goldman Sachs describes this as being trapped in a financial vortex, torn between near-term bills and long-term goals. Housing now eats up roughly 51% of median income in 2026, up from 33% just 25 years ago. Childcare has risen to 18% of income from 12% in 2000. Even before lifestyle creep kicks in, the basic cost structure of modern life has tightened dramatically, which means the margin for error at every income level is smaller than it used to be. And when lifestyle creep fills whatever margin remains, you're locked in. High salary, high expenses, zero freedom. That's the trap. Here's one more number worth sitting with. Goldman Sachs predicts that by 2033, 55% of U.S. workers will be living paycheck to paycheck, more than half the country, across all income levels. Not because salaries will drop, but because expenses, real and lifestyle-driven, will continue rising to meet them. The salary trap isn't a personal failure. It's a structural pattern built into the way consumer culture, social comparison, and human psychology interact, which means escaping it requires something deliberate, not more income. Deliberate separation between what you earn and what you allow your life to cost. Here's what the research consistently points to. First, treat every raise like it didn't fully happen. When your income goes up by $1,000 a month, immediately redirect at least 50% of that increase to savings or investments before your lifestyle has a chance to absorb it, before your brain recalibrates to the new normal, before the apartment search starts. This is the only window where the money is genuinely free. Once lifestyle creep sets in, getting it back feels like a sacrifice. Before it sets in, it just feels like discipline. The difference between those two feelings is a matter of days. Act in that window. Second, define your enough number for lifestyle. Not forever, just for right now. Write that number down. Because a number you've written down is a number you'll actually defend. Without it, your brain just expands to whatever feels normal in your current environment. That number, once you define it honestly, becomes a ceiling, and anything earned above it goes to your future. Third, audit your fixed costs annually, because the salary trap is mostly a fixed cost trap. It's not the lattes, it's the lease, the mortgage, the subscriptions, the school fees, the things that lock in automatically and never get reviewed. A $3,500 apartment versus a $2,800 apartment is $8,400 a year, every year. Compounded over 20 years at 8% returns, that gap is worth over $500,000. One housing decision. That's the scale of what fixed costs actually mean. Here's what the salary trap is really telling you. More money will not fix a broken relationship with money. It will just give you more to lose. The people who escape this pattern aren't the ones who earn the most. They're the ones who decided at some specific point that their life was already good enough and that every dollar earned above that line was for their future, not their image, not their comparison group, not the next level of normal, their future. All right, that's this one. Hope it reframed something that might have been quietly bothering you for a while. If it did, don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to see the unsexy habits that actually help you keep more of what you earn, the video on 10 unsexy habits that saved me thousands is right there on the left bottom. That one pairs perfectly with this. See you in the next one. Take care.